Look at this, guys. You ever wonder what the inside of a Toyota Tundra looks like without the interior? Well, here you go.
Anything negative, cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient.
What's up, Husky Bassheads? So this is gonna be basically the first video of me redoing the system in this truck, this 2010 Toyota Tundra. I think we decided we were going to call it the Yeti build, right? So we're just going to start from scratch. Like, we're redoing the whole thing from the ground up. And so in this video, we're doing quite a lot. We're going to be pulling out the entire interior and doing sound deadening to the floor and everywhere. And while we have the interior out, we're going to be running new wires for our amps, for our mids and highs, running new wires for our remote, and running a bunch of switches and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, while we have the interior pulled out of the car, that is the opportunity to get all your wires redone. So we're going to be doing that. We are going to be running 2 amps for the mids and highs, one under the passenger front seat, one under the driver front seat. One of those is going to be dedicated to the mids, which is going to be some 8s, and the other one is going to be dedicated to the tweeters, which is going to be some 4-inch super tweeters. That'll be another video though. And then once we got all that, we're going to be kind of redoing what's under the hood as far as like the way our fuse block is concerned, and then we're going to be running like a separate fuse box that's going to be responsible for all of the switches and everything else that we have coming into the cab. Last but not least, of course, we are installing a new head unit. We're running a new SMD clip indicator. We're going to be wiring up our bass knob, the LAF dual bass knob, and then we're going to be putting it all through a DSP that's going to be in the center console. So we're doing a lot this video, guys. This one's probably going to be a pretty long video. If it's too long, I might split it up into 2 videos. I'm not sure. But we're just going to have to do some editing and figure out what we end up doing with that. But anyway, guys, here's the video. I hope you enjoy it. Door panels removed. Got literally everything pulled out of this truck. Prepping it for everything we're about to put into it. You can see the bed is a nice little storage space for everything. And then we got a couple of seats over there. But anyway, let me show you guys what I'm thinking. You can see we've already got some sound deadener on here that I installed several years ago, but we don't have anything up here. The factory has this stuff. I don't know what this is, and it does not do a good job. I mean, that sounds crappy. I mean, it doesn't do anything, not compared to that stuff. So we're going to be covering that with some of this. This is Vibraflex, that hard deadener, that really hard stuff. I've had it sitting out here in the sun so that it's flappy and that we can manage it a little better. Let's see what else. Another thing we're doing, we're going to be putting our amps for the mids and highs under these seats. And we actually have like a little drain hole grommet right here that goes right down to the frame. I think we're going to be pulling our power and ground through there. and then maybe routing them up through here like that, maybe, I don't know. And then you can see on this side, I had some other power and grounds run through the floor right here, which was freaking dumb. I did not know that these holes were already here. But I'm removing these. I'm gonna cover those up with some sound deadener and some glue and who knows what else. I'm gonna seal that up for sure. And then again, run power and grounds through these drain holes and run them up through the center console. Probably gonna have 1 amp on this side and 1 amp over there. Unless they'll both fit on one side. I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna have to map it out and just see what kind of room I got. But anyway, we're getting this thing cleaned up, right? We're cleaning everything. We got some glass cleaner. We got our shop vac. Getting ready to put the deadener down and run our power wires for our amps. So, kind of been chipping away at this Vibraflex stuff. That I got my, the only thing I left open was that hole right there. We're moving over to this side now. And you can see, I used some of that Vibraflex to cover up these holes that I was talking about for that power wire right there. That's gonna work out pretty good, I think, once that hardens up. Anyway, this Vibraflex is a little bit more involved to install than typical sound deadening. You have to heat it up. You absolutely have to heat it up. And I've seen a lot of guys use like torches. I'm not super convinced that that's necessary. But let's install a panel of it and we'll see how it goes, and you guys can kind of tell me your opinion. So I apologize if you guys hear the wind, and you don't need to watch me install that entire piece, but basically what you're going for is you heat this up. See how this has like wrinkles in it? You heat this up until you see those wrinkles go away. See how that's smooth right there? That's smooth right there, right? And then once those wrinkles go away, then you roll it out. And you can tell it's hot because it's like melting onto my roller here. So anyway, I'm gonna finish out this piece. You guys don't need to watch me do that. And then of course we're gonna, you know, do the whole floor here, just like we did on that other side. All right, well, sorry for the mess, but we got that pretty much done. This was the whole box that I ordered. I don't remember how many square feet it was. We got the two, you know, front foot panels there. We got some in the back and then some in the back. Man, this stuff, once it hardens up, it becomes rigid. I mean, it is like, this like hardens the panel. But it is very time consuming. I mean, this took me many hours to complete. I did not get right under the seat because we're gonna do something with some wood right here. I'll show you guys that when we do that. And I do think I might put some wood here in case I wanna do like a stripper pole later. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, yeah, man, this stuff is I like it. It is really sturdy, really heavy duty. And once you hit that heat gun to it and it sort of melts and forms into place, like you can see where I like melted it a couple of times. But man, once it cools off, that is hard. It's not just like rubbery, like regular deadener, like this stuff. Right? Like I can still push that with my finger. This is like on there, right? Like that is hard on there now. So anyway, I'm really impressed with this stuff. First time using it, won't be the last at this point because this stuff is great. All right, back at it again. A little update for you guys. This stuff has been cooling overnight. Man, that is like rigid on there. And I did just add another little piece here, but anyway, man, that, I mean, the difference between that and say like this is like still squishy. That is just rock solid. That is, I'm impressed with that. One thing I did do last night before I went to bed too was I spray foamed in here in these little holes with that big gap filler. Like you can see it over there kind of oozing out. And I've already just kind of removed those big bulges off of here, but I'm just trying to remove any bit of dead space. And I did put the seat bolts back in before I spray foamed it because I didn't want these holes to fill up with spray foam, obviously. But anyway, that's where we're at. And I do have a couple sheets of this stuff that we're also just gonna kind of do some patchwork. And then I have this closed cell foam stuff that we're probably going to lay down a couple layers, maybe down here in the back or somewhere. We'll figure it out, but let me get all that done and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, well, I think all the sound treatment is done. These are those AC vents that come off of there. That's what those are, but anyway. So I did end up putting that closed cell foam over some areas. I put some more of just this butyl deadener down. See, we got some right here. We got some over there. We have some up here, you know. And then I took this closed cell foam, just finished off the roll that I had. Put a strip there, put a little patch there. Same on the other side. Right, same here. Then I just left this open because that's the grommet we're going to use to run power wires through. So, man, and this made a difference. Look at this. I mean, no resonance whatsoever. Same here. I mean, just deader than a doornail. And I just can't get over this stuff, man. This stuff is incredible. It's like it's part of the truck now. Like, I bet you'd have to like break that off with a chisel. Anyway, all right, well, we got all that done. Oh, one other thing I did. I sprayed some foam down in the bottom of the doors here. Mostly just because I had some spray foam left that I didn't really know what to do with. But it helped a little bit. Right, it absorbs some of that resonance off of that door. I did the same thing on that back door. But anyway, all right. So you really want to do your sound deadener and get your build started off right. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. This is what makes the difference between a system that sounds really good and a system that just sounds kind of meh. So anyway, here's the starting point. Now it's time to build it back up. So guys, you remember how we said we were going to be mounting the mids and highs amps under the seats? Well, here's how we're going to do that. We're going to take a piece of MDF and basically secure it to the sheet metal of the truck. We used some of that like 3X PL glue and then some self-tapping sheet metal screws to give us a piece of MDF under the carpet so that we can then take our like amp rack or mounting surface and put it on top of the carpet. Then that thing is mounted. It's not going anywhere. It's like part of the car. It's the same way that I set it up in my go-kart. I love the way it works. Anything you want to screw down to that thing in the future, you got a nice big fat beefy 3/4 piece of MDF that you can just screw into. It works great. All right, so I did this same thing in my car. I put some MDF down right onto the metal so that when I put the carpet over it, I have something strong to mount this amp to, right? I'm gonna have one here, then I'm probably gonna have one over there too. I don't think I can fit 2 amps here. I mean, maybe I can, but I don't think so. Anyway, what I did was I used some PL and some self-tappers and just, right? That's part of the car now. That's not going anywhere. I can mount anything I want to that. Now, before you start putting self-tappers into sheet metal, you need to make sure there is nothing on the other side that you're gonna puncture. I already did that, got up under the truck, made sure there was nothing under there that I was gonna puncture, and there is not. So here we are. Got 2 mounting surfaces for some amps under these seats. All right, guys, running power wire now. So I've got a power and a ground for this side, and then a power and a ground for that side. You can see I went through that grommet right there and just silicone the crap out of it because I don't want that to leak. Then that's just going to be under the carpet there like that, running through the center console, coming out right here. You can see this pokes out right there at the frame and goes up. Right, and then comes up right here. It's gonna attach to the fuse box here, and then the ground is right here, right here, right? Okay, then we got this ground and this power here going across the firewall into that boot right there, right? That comes out right behind the glove box. Right, it comes out like right here. You can't really see it, it's tucked up in there. But I've plumbed it through right there. And then these are gonna spit out right here for this amp. So we're gonna end up going with one of the tar amps right here, and one of them over there. I didn't really like, this grommet just isn't very strong. That's why I had to silicone it on that side. That is why I did not decide to use it on this side. I just went through that boot up there. So anyway, that's why that is the way it is. Now we've got the power and ground running from the front all the way through the truck and under the seats. That is 1/0 cable, by the way. It is sound cubed. It's CCA, but it's more than enough to handle what we're going to be running through it. So I'm not worried about it. I had a bunch of it sitting upstairs. Thought might as well use it. This is a good enough reason for it. The CCA is going to cause no problems being run to those mids and highs. Anyway, now that we got those run, we're going to start working on running all of the new wiring for the speakers, right? We're going to have 2 8s and 2 super tweeters in each door. So that's a lot of runs of speaker wire, excuse me. And that was kind of a pain in the butt. Like, you guys will see as I document and show you guys how that went. It's difficult. Like, it's not as easy as it looks, especially when you're running multiple runs of like larger gauge speaker wire. You're talking about bundles of wire that's like that fat. So anyway, let me take you guys through that process. Here we go. Right, as you can see, we're running speaker wires. We got 2 runs, right? That's a positive and a negative in there. For the 8s, 2 runs. For the super tweets, got it run through the boot, right? Comes out right there. You can see it tucked away. Everything's all zip tied. These are going to spit out right here because that 2000 watt amp is going to go here. And then these go all the way over and they're going to terminate over there. So what we're getting ready to do is the other side. Okay guys, so let me show you how I like to do this. It is very difficult and very stressful to get wires through those boots. It's probably one of the things that I hate the most about doing 4-channel amp installs. Let's see, where's that even stick out at? Up there somewhere. Anyway, what I like to do is use a hanger to attach the wires to, and then you can fish the hanger through the boot. So let me kind of set this up and show you guys what I mean. All right, so you do need to lubricate that wire with something. I just like to use like some foaming pump soap. So you want to get that on there. Otherwise, it is going to be too fat to stick through there, and it's going to stick, and it is just going to be absolutely awful. So you want to lube that up a little bit. Right, I mean, yeah, this seems kind of messy, but otherwise, if you don't do it, you're not going to get that wire through there. It's just not going to happen. All right, let's see. So I know you guys can't really see what I'm doing, but I leave a little bit of hanger hanging off the end so that I can kind of fish that through the boot. All right, well, let's see. Sometimes you got to pull the boot back just so you can kind of see what you're doing.
Many minutes later.
All right, let me see if I can get a picture of this. Can you guys see that? Oh man, no you can't. Come on. Anyway, yeah, you can right there. That hanger is sticking through. So now I just got to reach in there and pull it through. Okay, I know that was hard to see, guys, but you can see I did have to readjust my hanger so that I had a little bit more handle hanging out here. Lubed it up, pulled it right on through. Now it just comes right through, see? So we'll get that pulled through, and then I'll update you guys. So we got everything pulled through now. We got just enough left to be able to plug into those speakers. Like I said, 2 8s and then 2 super tweeters. All right, tuck that in there for now. Now all that's left is to plumb this wire where I want it to go, just like I did on that other side. Well, as you can see, we got the speaker wires run on this back door now too, but that wasn't without a little bit of headache. These back doors come with this plug, right, that fits in that hole right there. Oops, sorry. Yeah, right there. Whereas the front, right, the front just has this boot and that's it. You know, there's an empty hole right there. This has that little plug that fits in there. And I couldn't even release the dang thing without breaking it. I mean, my gosh, they do not want you to take that out of there. So what I did was I cut it and I just hardwired it. Right, I had a whole bunch of wires here and I just tried to match up the colors the best I could, and I hardwired it, you know, right into the door. So, you know, let's see if I can, yeah, I just, you know, but that made it a lot easier to run these wires through there, because otherwise you'd have to either run some pins in there or drill some holes out somewhere. And I don't know. I just don't know if you're fitting all of this wire through this plug. To me, it just seemed easier to cut it off and hardwire it. So that side still needs done. It still has a plug in there. See? And so we'll get that side done, and then I'll show you guys the result. All right, well, here we go. So we got everything in there hardwired, right, in through that hole, out through here, into that boot. Got this thing removed. Again, I can't really even remove that thing without breaking it. And I use these bad boys. I love these things. Heat shrink with solder in it. You just put this around the end, hit it with your heat gun, and it solders itself. It's pretty sweet. So anyway, we got to get that all wrapped up nice and neat so we don't just have all these wires hanging out. Let me get that done real quick. I'll probably just throw some electrical tape and maybe some split loom or something on it, and then I'll bring you guys back. Well, we got it done, guys. We've been working on this for a couple of days. Got speaker wires here. Got them hanging out over there. Got everything running through the boot. Right, we got 2 8s, 2 super tweeters in each door, right? 2 8s, 2 super tweeters. Okay, everything is zip tied into place in the whole car. All my super tweeters come here. These are going to go into my my Taramps HD 2000. Right, and then over here, like I said, we got these. Right. And then these. Okay, and all these bigger cables come over here. these are going to go to my Taramps HD 3000. All right, so this is going to run all the 8s. That one is going to run all the super tweeters. Right, and then we got a power and a ground here for this amp, a power and a ground here for that amp. We got all the sound deadening, Vibraflex, you name it. We got platforms that are basically part of the truck now on both sides, so all of our wiring is pretty much done, you know, short of running some RCAs and some other things, but we'll take care of that later. Well, now that we have all of that done, it's time to do some wiring under the hood and then throughout the cab. We're going to be installing some new fuse blocks up under the hood for like the primary power wire and all of that stuff. Then we're also going to be installing another little bitty like blade fuse block for all of the accessories that are going to go into the car, like the amp remote wire turn-ons, some lights, you know, a whole bunch of stuff. And a lot of our switches are going to be operated, the power is going to be coming from that fuse block. So here's that process. Well, this is what I'm thinking for that under the hood fuse box. So let's see, this is the lid to my fuse box under the hood, and I'm just gonna mount this on top of it. So basically we've got a piece of MDF that I put a chamfer on. Then I just painted it. Ooh, it got kind of dirty. Whatever, that's on the bottom. Then I just put these little spray paint can marks on it. I don't know. And then we're gonna do, that's gonna be for the runs going back to the back. Got another fuse box. And then this is just gonna be for all my little, you know, just an extra little bitty fuse block. I don't know, there should be plenty. And then all of this is gonna go on top of here like that. All right, I know it looks messy, but we're about ready to start putting all the dash panels back in the car. So let me show you what I got first. I've got this this fuse box wired up right here, right? Nothing is powered, right? All my wires are on this side. I don't have any fuses, so nothing's seeing power. Got a couple of grounds here. And all of this is right here. This split, that loomed cable, it kind of runs down right there. Goes right through that factory boot right there, right? And that's for everything in here that's going to be getting power, right? And when you're doing this stuff, you have to label everything. See, this is going to be a switch. Let's see, switch to sub amp from remote, right? So there's going to be a toggle switch on this. There's going to be a toggle switch here, right? What's that? That's going to be to my clip indicator, right? And I got it all labeled back here too, right? Where are we at? Yeah, see right here. Yeah, clip indicator. So when you're doing this, you got to label what all this is, or else you're going to have it all in here and you're not going to know what any of this goes to. So I also did end up covering that. I just didn't like these big fat power wires coming out of that ground there, because for one, it created this great big like lump that was going to be felt in the carpet right here. And I just didn't trust that was waterproof. So I just put the seal back in and just silicone the crap out of it. And then I'm going to put some of this sound treatment over it. And then it'll be like it never happened. So now remember, we're going to have 1 amp here and 1 amp here. So we got 2 power runs and 2 ground runs. And all of those are gonna come right to the battery. See, here's those 2 power runs. Here's one of the ground runs, and here's the other one right here. They all travel along the firewall, and again, go right through that factory boot right there. They come out of the boot, like right up there, you can't really see it. They go under this guy right here, up in the dash, and they spit out right there, right? And then they're just gonna be under my center console. The power and the ground's gonna come over here to this amp. One of them's gonna go over there to that amp, right? We got RCAs to each amplifier. So anyway, it looks like a rat's nest here, guys, but there's a method to all of this, right? That's power and ground to the DSP. Like everything in there is labeled, everything in there is wired, everything in there is ready to go. Now all we got to do is start putting those dash pieces back in and start wiring up switches kind of as we go. All right, guys, one last thing I want to show you before I put this dash piece back in, something I like to do. As you can see, I got a rocker switch right here, and then I've just got like a 2-prong toggle switch right here, right, like that. This one is going to be to my neon lights that are going to be in the box, and this one is going to be my remote turn on to my sub amp. So wouldn't it be a shame to get all this in there only to find out that you wired this up wrong? So I like to use my little conduction tester, right? I just got it grounded right there to test to make sure that this is working, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here to the fuse box, and I know this one is to my remote turn on. So I put a fuse in it so we know we're getting power to this line going into the truck. So the switch is turned off right now, and here's the end of that right there, right? I grabbed it from over there. It's labeled. That's why you label all this stuff, so you know what these wires are, right? So theoretically that should not have power to it. I'm gonna flip it on. Okay, now it should have power to it. I don't know if I can get this in with one hand, but put it on my conduction tester like that, and the light comes on. See, light off, light on, light off, light on. Okay, let's turn that switch off. Nothing, no light. Okay, I already did the same thing here to this, right? That is to my lights. As you can see, it's labeled. So I know those switches are working properly. Got that turned off, got that one turned off. Let me pull my fuse just to be double safe. Put it over here in one of these blanks. All right, well I like to test each one of these circuits if it's attached to a switch before I put the dash piece back in the dash, because like I said, you get everything put back in, you realize your wires don't work, your switches don't work, now you got to pull it all back out. So I like to check it. It's always a good idea to check it before you put the dash piece back in. Oh, real quick, guys, while I have this dash piece pulled out, see this is all my wire here, and I just taped it up to the factory wire to a switch. Right, this is going to be to my, what do you call it? My voltmeter, right? And then a lot of these other wires are going to go right through here. They're all up here, right? You can see that. They're zip tied nice and neat right there. Right, I tried to make it as consolidated as possible. Like, that's not going to be all messy like that. We're gonna get that all tied up. But anyway, let's get everything back in place, and then I'll just kind of show you guys how it turns out once it's a little bit neater and tied up looking. So the next step to all of this is to put in a new head unit. My wife and I went camping way before this project started, and so much dust was in this truck that I think it killed the head unit. I had a nice Kenwood head unit in here, and when we got back from our camping trip, the thing just was dead. Wouldn't even come on. I don't know what happened, but I got on Amazon and basically just ordered the cheapest head unit I could find. It was this Nokamichi. Never heard of it. It was on sale. I got 2 of them for like under $100. If it doesn't sound good, I'll just swap it out. But the thing is, I'm running everything through a DSP anyway. So the only really thing that I was looking for was, does this have 3 preamp outputs? And it does. So a head unit for, I think I only paid like 25 bucks for it. It was on sale at the time, like I said. And I got 2 of them. I mean, should work to me because most of the sound processing is going to be coming from our DSP anyway. So anyway, here's me installing that head unit. All right, let me just take a minute to show you guys how I got this set up. Now this dash piece that was in my truck was for a double din. I didn't really want to buy another one. I mean, whatever. I don't care if there's this gap here. Maybe I'll put like a little toy or an action figure or something right there. Maybe some switches. I don't know. I can fill that space or not. Doesn't really matter. I didn't use the, let's see, what is it? That little sleeve that it comes with. This thing. Right? Because it wouldn't really sit secure in that double din hole. So I just used some of the mounting holes here and ran some bolts through it. Right, now these aren't very long, right? This, I think it tells you they can only be 6 millimeters long before you start running into the internals. But anyway, that's in there nice and secure. And then I got my little relay switch right there. And we're going to use that as our relay to our remote wire, right? Instead of running like 10 remotes right off of the remote that switch turn on that comes off the radio, you're not supposed to do that. It can't handle all that power. I always run a relay, and that one I'll just mount right there. Okay, that's just a regular 4-pin relay. Lots of videos on how to wire those up if you guys don't know how. And then I just put my holster for my bass knob right here on the front, so it'll be easy to grab it right there. And then I'll probably just run all the cables through here, something like that. I'm not sure yet, but something like that. That's what we got going on there anyway. Okay, so we're doing some more testing here. You see I've got my conduction tester. We got it grounded right here. We got a lot of things hooked up to that relay switch right there that should turn on with a remote, right? When the head unit comes on, there we go. This should come on. These are my 2 remote wires. One's gonna go over there. One's gonna come over here for my 2 amps into the seat. So theoretically, when I turn the key on, sorry, let me pull that out. The head unit should come on. It should send a signal to my switch. The switch should come on, and then that should send power to my clip indicator gauge, and then my 2 remote wires here for my mids and highs amps. Again, it's good to check all this before you put all your car back together, just to make sure it works, right? Because all these wires are running under the carpet and under the dash or behind the dash. So you get everything put back in here, and then you flip the switch and you realize something isn't working. Well, man, wouldn't it be terrible if you had to pull all this back out of here just to diagnose a problem? So we're gonna put the key in the ignition. We're just gonna turn it on. We're not gonna turn the truck over. Okay, stereo comes on, good. Clip indicator gauge comes on, good, okay. Let's see if I can do this with one hand here. Okay, we got a bare wire here. I don't want this to ground out. So when I touch it here, boom. We got conductivity. Okay, just for good measure, let's check this other one. Okay, let me grab the other one over here. All right. Okay. All right. So we know everything that's supposed to come on comes on. Now let me turn the key off. Okay. Stereo turns off. Gauge turns off. Remote wire turns off. Okay. So we know everything's working properly. Now we can start putting this dash back together. All right. So we know that all of our connections and our remotes turn on. So we're just working on getting this interior put back together. So let me kind of show you what I'm doing. I'm working on the carpet that needs vacuumed very badly. And you can see all the wires are tucked in really nice. I pulled everything through the original hole here, right? This is the factory wiring that goes to the seat. Here's the speaker wires, here's the remote wire, here's the RCA, right? And then the power and ground, I need to run those through here actually. One thing I did do, there are some vents that come out right here and go to the back. I removed those and I plugged the hole there because I'm going to build a platform here for my amp, and those vents would be in the way and nobody ever sits in the back, so I didn't think it was a big deal. But we got the same thing over there, right? Speaker wires, RCAs, everything coming out right there. You can see I've got a little mount here for my meter there, like that. Got my RCA bass knob all wired up. All right, so now we're just working on getting these seats and everything put back into place. All right, you can even see all this is going to go into the center console, and these are going to route in through here where my DSP is going to be. Guys, it's coming together. Look at this, I got all these wires pulled through. It goes on, God, sorry guys, that's nasty. I gotta clean that. It comes, all these power wires come through right there where those vents used to go. Right, my amp is gonna mount to that board. Got the same thing on the other side, everything's pulled through. Got my center console back in. I gotta put all the cup holders and stuff in there. Right, we got, see, we got our head unit. Got our clip indicator, and then we got our bass knob with a really big, you know, tether extension on it, so I can hold that in my hand while I'm giving demos. Let me show you what I got going here. Now here's my DSP that's going to be sending RCAs, one there, one here, out to my mids and highs amps, and everything runs under the center console, right? Like through the dash, under the center console. And then I just put a little grommet right here on the inside of my console there. You see? Got it all tidied up, nice and neat, right? All hidden away. Now, a lot of work has gone into this, getting to where I am right now, you know? You want to do things the right way, it takes a long time and a lot of work, but that looks pretty clean. You know, it's not the cleanest job by far, but you know, everything is ran properly. You know, everything is nice and tidy, right? Every live wire is fused right here. right? Like, you want to do it right, it's going to take time. But let's make sure everything works. Take the key, right? Let's turn the ignition on. Okay, head unit comes on, clip indicator comes on, DSP comes on. Freaking sweet. All right, guys, we're making progress. Almost there. We just got to get the rest of this interior put in here.
Mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top?